Yes.
All right, we're live, guys. Welcome to another week of Live with Tyson, which we do every Tuesday at 3 o'clock. Definitely encourage everyone to jump on. I know 3 o'clock sometimes might not be the most convenient time for everyone. We all have busy lives and so forth. But today we get to speak with Nick and Selmo, which we're going to dive in a little deeper. Nick is one of our newest agents here at Trillion. He is, you're 21, right? Oh gosh, don't tell me I get that
21.
wrong.
Yeah.
So Nick's 21, newer agent. You've had your license for how long?
I began practicing in about August of last year. So like 10 months or so, I'd say.
Uh, so I love it. So you've been practicing in real estate for less than a year. So what we're going to do today is we're going to dive in a bit deep, and I'm probably going to ask a few tough questions to Nick, just with regards to his first 10 months in the business. And he's crushing it right now. I'll just share that with everyone. He is definitely just, I've been extremely impressed. I think you've been with Trillion for 3 months now, or I could totally be off. How long's it been?
I joined Trillion about May, like the beginning of May. So like 90 days or so.
Okay, so
Fairly
I
new.
was close, about 3 months.
Yeah.
Okay, and so anyway, what I've seen from Nick in the few months that he's been with Trillion, essentially, it sounds like he had closed a handful of deals prior, and now I believe how many escrows do you have currently?
Well, I closed two last week, but I think I've got four in escrow right now. And then hopefully a couple more coming up next week.
Thing. So that's extremely impressive to be in the business for this short amount of time, and essentially to have four escrow. That in itself is quite amazing. You're definitely tracking for over 100,000 in terms of income, which is just insane to think that you were working, if you don't mind me sharing, at Red
Yeah, go
Robin
for it.
before, doing your thing. Um, and now you're working in real estate 10 months in, and you'll break the, if things continue the way they are, and it seems like you have amazing momentum right now, you're tracking to easily break 100,000 in income, and I could see it being a lot more than that if things continue and if you continue to put in the work that you have been putting. So anyway, this should be a really cool episode where we get to dive in deep with Nick. So everyone, please, I'm going to go ahead and get my Facebook open real quick just so I can make sure we see any sort of questions that come in. And again, and feel free to comment any questions you have for Nick or for myself. I think that some of the things Nick's going to share today can help anyone that's in the real estate industry and even outside the real estate industry. But new agents, I get a lot of agents ask, or a lot of people who even ask me for advice that are looking to get into the business. And of course, I'm more than happy to share my 2 cents. But hearing it straight from someone who is newer in the business and I feel like is doing it the right way, I think you can get a lot of value out of what you're going to be able to share with us today. So anyway, we're going to try to get down to the nitty gritty with Nick. So, and again, I've got my Facebook open, so we can also take some questions and so forth. And Gloria, Balt, thanks for being on. You guys rock, Marianne. We appreciate everyone for supporting us here, and we hope to bring value. And if there's any way we can bring more value, of course, we want to hear it. So really, this podcast is for us to grow, to learn, and do better, be better people. That's what this is all about. That's what life's all about, right? So anyway, without further ado, Nick, do you want to share just a little bit more besides of what I've brought up, a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll kind of just start from the beginning. So when I got my license last August, I always wanted to do something that was fulfilling. and I'm still actually going to college full time. I will graduate with my management degree, and I really wanted to help people, and real estate I felt was a great way for me to build a business of my own and help people without having a degree, which is so important in today's society to get like a lot of fulfilling jobs. So that's kind of why I got my license in the first place. And so in August, I was going to school full time, working part time at a restaurant to pay for school, and then doing real estate on the side. And it was just a lot to juggle, and it was really hard to concentrate on real estate. And it wasn't until I transitioned into full time at real estate until COVID happened, in around March. So I got laid off from Red Robin, and I pretty much was like, okay, I need to turn, this negative and turn it into a positive and try and create something and not get down on myself. So that's pretty much when I got the notification that I was getting laid off. I was like, shoot, I need to treat real estate as a 9 to 5 job. All my college courses were online. I had no excuses. I had all the time in the world. And so that's where I was at the house, and just from pretty much at minimum 8 to 10 hours a day, I was either calling expireds, calling for sale by owners, trying just to talk to people. And I think that's what really helped, because in March and April, my business didn't really skyrocket yet. I was still a rookie. Like I didn't feel very confident when I was talking to buyers and sellers. And so I just getting in front of people and making those phone calls really helped just create more confidence in myself to feel like I knew what I was talking about. And so one of the other steps I took to kind of transition to full time was I felt like I needed to be in a good environment and surround myself around other successful agents. So that's kind of why I made the transition to Trillion in early May. The brokerage I was with before was fantastic, but I felt like the culture here I fit in a little bit better, and it's been great. So as you saw, I pretty much day one, I came into the office 9 to 5, and I actually got a lead in Palm Desert. So, and it was a gentleman looking to purchase a duplex, an investment property, and I wasn't going to make a lot of money off of it. It wasn't anything, super fancy or fantastic. And I was like, I can't be picky. Like, I just need to build credibility for myself. So I drove all the way down to, 2 hours to Palm Desert to show this guy a couple properties. And we went into, luckily, long story short, I went to escrow. But I thought to myself, I'm like, I can listen to music during this whole 2 hour drive, or I can try and make the most out of my time and learn. And so I made that trip to Palm Desert probably 5 times, 4 times. And so that ended up being, easily 15 hours worth of driving. And I told myself this whole drive, I'm going to listen to podcasts. I'm going to listen to real estate experts. Like, how can I improve my business? Like, what mistakes am I making that I need to fix? How can I talk to people better? And that helped a lot. So during these podcasts, I kept hearing, and people were telling me, like, you got to make sure you ask the right questions. You got to be able to convert leads. You can get as many leads as you want, but if you're not converting them, you're not doing any good for yourself. And I think that just being okay with learning and listening to other people's experiences was a huge help to me. I feel like I learned from other people's mistakes, and it helped me prevent myself from making those same mistakes. And so from there, I got another lead in San Marcos. And again, it was a small little manufactured home. I can't be picky. I'd only done, I think, 3 transactions total at the time. So I was like, I got to just chase transactions and build myself credibility. I can't be picky.
Yeah.
And so I was talking to, this client, and she was like, yeah, we're currently selling our house. And the agent who was selling her house didn't bother to ask if she needed a purchase. And I just thought to myself, like, that's crazy. Like, that agent is missing out on such a good opportunity, whether it's a big transaction or not. The agent just had failed to ask the right question and is therefore failing to make another transaction. And from there, I told myself, I will never make that mistake, ever. And so I think, again, knowing what questions to ask and how to convert leads is a major, major importance when it comes to being good at real estate. And
That's
again, I'm
awesome.
trying to like
Yeah.
speed
Oh, go
through,
ahead.
like,
Sorry.
the spark notes of everything. No, go ahead.
Oh my gosh, you were prepared? What the heck, Nick? Dang. Well, okay. Do you
um,
have something else you want to say?
oh, no, no, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, no, I love what you're saying because I feel like that's extremely important in terms of just like, if you truly want to help somebody, how could you really help someone if you don't know what's going on? If you don't know all the ins and outs of their situation, what moves they're making, and how you can really effectively help them. And so I think that's essentially what you were just saying is you have to really ask the right questions to know what they want to do. And in return, of course, the person that you're speaking with, as they share all of that information, um, you're going to be better in a better situation to truly help them. And when someone knows you're really there to help them, they want to work with you. They know that you have their interests at heart. Regardless of that, if that turns into a sell or not, asking the right questions is vital to really being able to help someone make a good decision, especially when it comes to real estate, which of course real estate is, usually one of the most expensive or the highest price type assets that anyone ever purchases in their lifetime. So to be able to really understand their situation, it is extremely important. And so I agree 1,000%. I love that. But Nick, did you have somewhere else you were going with that? Feel free to continue. Sorry.
Oh, no, no, no. I think I was just kind of going to go on how I kind of really blew up my business in like the last 30 to 60 days. Um, so from that point, I guess just to add on to what you said too, is that I think that the key to being good at real estate is, one, you just have to be genuine. Like, you can't be greedy. You can't chase the money. You have to just really be in it to help people. And if you have your clients or your customers' best interests at heart, business will come your way between one, being genuine, and one, working. Like, you have to put in the work and you have to care about people. You can't, you cannot be greedy in this business, or else, one,
I
people aren't going to
love
like
it,
you, and
Nick.
two, bad karma is going to catch up. I'm a true believer in that. I'm not very, all about being skeptical and everything, but I truly believe in like bad karma. And if you're greedy, it will bite you in time to come. So if you were to take away anything from this video, I would say, one, really be in it to help people, and two, know you have to put in the work.
Man.
But so to add on, so the way I think my business really like blew up was, I had a family friend who was like, hey, I'm working with this agent, I'm working with this lender. They're not talking to me, they're not communicating with me. What can you do to help? Like, I know you haven't been in the business for very long, but at this point, I'm desperate. I need help. And so I made a phone call. I called my lender. I was like, hey, I need this guy pre-approved in 24 hours. Like, I need him pre-approved now. And I got on my lender. My lender got all this information. We had him pre-approved in less than 24 hours, and we're looking at houses. And I think that was a huge stepping stone, because it was like my first big deal. Like, it was my first big client, my first big transaction. And it was a big confidence booster too. And then I used one of your listings on Park Place. So I used one of your properties you had for sale and advertising on Facebook. And I just got basically a list of people who were interested, and I just started making phone calls all day. Like, hey, I saw you're interested. Hey, this house is like 3 beds, 2 baths, this many square feet. Is this something you're interested in? And by making those phone calls, I got my first listing in Fallbrook. And then I made sure I asked the right questions. It turns out she has to buy. So then I'm now double ending it. Well, then I started advertising my first listing, in Fallbrook, my own. And then I ran the same Facebook ad, got a whole bunch of more inquiries based on my listing now. And all of a sudden I was making more phone calls, and I got another person who has to sell. And that same person also has to buy. So it's like this momentum just keeps rolling in and rolling in. And again, I mean, people, I think, don't realize how much work comes into real estate, especially starting off. I mean, even me, I was kind of naive. I was like, hey, I don't have a boss. Like, I don't have to clock in. There's no clocking in. There's no clocking out. I can just work a couple hours a day and make money. It's not how it works. I mean, you see me here at the office from 9 to 5. Well, I mean, even after 9 to 5, I'll go home and spend time with my fiance for a couple hours. And then when she falls asleep at 10, last night, I was up till like 1 a.m. running comps and, CMAs for different clients. I mean, you're going to work 12-hour days easily to really kickstart your business. And I feel like people don't understand that or aren't prepared to take that big step.
Dang. So that's awesome, Nick. And you're definitely sharing a lot of, I guess, like Geronimo said, a lot of fire. It's so true. And it's like, it really comes down to hard work, right? Being willing to learn. Those were a couple of the main points you made. If you put in the hard work, and you're giving value, asking the right questions, everything else just falls into place. You are an amazing example of someone that comes into the office. It's something that I feel like I preach a lot, and sometimes I feel like certain people or certain agents listen, but don't really do it. But what I've seen from you in the short amount of time that you've been here is you listen and you truly do what I say or what you learn from other agents, which is amazing, because a majority of agents do not, or a majority of society does not act upon the things that they need to do. I think I was talking to someone just the other day. It's like, how many people make commitments at the beginning of the year to do this, 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 and how many? Let's say you take 100 people that start out the year. Let's say it's physically you want to get fit or have a better diet. How many are still on that game plan 1 year? Or not 1 year. Let's not go to that. I meant 1 week into it. How many are still going at that plan that they have with diet and exercise? What would you think? What's your, and this is just a guess, right?
I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but I'd say 25% of people, if that, really hold true to their New Year's resolutions or their goals. I honestly.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think you're being nice to say 25%. I say probably even
more
less than that.
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks in, or let's say 1 month in, I bet you it's probably 5, if that.
Yeah.
And so that's the reality. When you need to put in hard work, like you have done, you've gone, and I asked you for permission if I could share income to a certain extent. But last year, and we won't say specifically what you made last year, but let's just say it was $20,000.
Not a lot.
Okay.
Ooh,
okay.
That's generous.
And I don't know how accurate that is, but
that's
this
generous.
year, assuming everything continues in terms of your momentum, I think you're well beyond that already this year, and by the looks of it, you'll be well over 100,000. So someone brand new into real estate, getting into it, the reason you are being successful in finding that you're creating or finding a lot of buyers and leads that turn into buyers or sellers and so on and so forth is because you're one of those 5% that 1 month in was still working hard. And it might not even hit 5%. Let's say it's 5% though, because it's very few that are really willing to put in the work. So when I come into the office and I hear you making those difficult phone calls, you know, sometimes these people are just blowing you off. And I could even tell from over here, but it's making those phone calls, being consistent 1 month in, 2 months in, 3 months in, you're still doing it. That's why you're successful. That's why you're going to go from 20,000 to over 100,000 in 1 year, is because you're willing to put in the work that most people won't. And so anyway, kudos to you for being willing to put in the work, because I feel like that's the huge reason to your success. And even comparing you to myself, when I started in real estate, I only did like 6 to 8 transactions my first year. You're going to blow me out of the water. So the fact that you're going to close the number of deals you are this year is crazy, and your income's going to obviously follow. But like you were saying earlier, you're not in it for the money, you know, and
No.
that's why you're killing it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the thing I said from day one was I need to chase the transactions and not chase the money. And I think I've done a really good job at holding true to that, because I like I said, I've taken leads. I've literally taken leads who have said that their budget is $60,000. And that's a true story. Like, you have to do it. Like, that's how I built my credibility, and I advertised, these transactions that I closed. But I mean, literally, I had closed transactions that were $16,000. It was a piece of land, but I did it because I had to. I had to get the review, or I had to build the credibility and show that I've done something. And I
Love
think
it.
people need to realize, or especially real estate agents or aspiring agents, like, you're gonna take losses every single day. I mean, like you mentioned, there was one specific day I will always think back to. I was in this office, and I pulled up, to see how many leads I got from my Facebook ad, and I had like 4 just nasty comments. Like, people were not did I one person left a nasty comment, and I think the other 3 like piggybacked off of them, and I felt really down. I was like, shoot, I should just cut the ad off, like delete it. I just need to get rid of it. Like, I felt so down. And I truly, when I take a loss like that, I really say, you know what, be upset for 5 minutes, and after that, you need to find another win. Like, you need to make something productive happen. But anyways, so I saw
Okay,
those
wait,
nasty
let's cut
comments.
off there, because
Yeah,
that's a huge golden nugget right there. Keep whatever thought you have that you want to share,
yeah,
but that is so important. I just want to emphasize um, the importance of that is we cannot get stuck with the negative. You just cannot. If you get stuck with the negative on a regular basis in real estate, you're going to be in the negative all the time. Like, I can, there's no way you can help the number of people you probably really want to help unless you're willing to focus on the positive. And even if you do get that negative, like those negative comments that you got on your posts, you could have let that drag you down and say, forget it, I'm not going to do those Facebook posts anymore. But the reality is, you're not going to let those negative things affect you, and you continued on, is huge. And you can really take that to any situation. In almost every escrow, every transaction almost has at least a couple hiccups, a couple issues. And it's extremely important, and you already know this at such a young age, which is insanity to me, because I feel like it took me so long to learn this, is you've got to figure out a way to quickly solve the issue and move on. Otherwise, it's going to hurt your energy. It's going to hurt your ability to continue to serve the client to the fullest, because if you're focusing on the negative, they're going to feel that negative. If you're having a hard time because you need to get a fence fixed, let's say a gate fix that costs $100, and you don't want to pay for it, and you don't want your client to pay for it, you're going to go down to represent your client in a way that I don't think you're serving their very best interest. They're going to get stressed. They're probably not going to want to work with you again. Why not just bite the bullet, fix that fence, move forward? And I think that's what you're saying here is, like, don't focus on the negative, find a solution, move on, continue forward. and you're going to find a lot more success by focusing on the positive. Anyway, cool. I just thought that was a golden nugget right there that I wanted to expand on. But go ahead. I know you had something
Oh,
else you wanted to say.
no, I was just gonna go on. So the Facebook ad with those nasty comments, I looked at it and I felt down for probably, like I said, 3 minutes, and I was like, you know what, screw it, make the phone calls. And the first person I called, he was like, actually, you know what, I am interested in purchasing. Like, I want a 4-bed, 3-bath, single story pool home. And I was like, okay, I will send you some houses by the end of the night and let me know. And, you know, a couple days later, we're house hunting. And I think that moment will always stick in my mind, because if I didn't, if I didn't, if I didn't make those phone calls and I let those negative comments hit me, I would have never got that client. And then the funny thing is that I think two phone calls later, I got another conversation, another person that wants to buy, and now I'm actually going to be selling that house, or her house too. So you just can't let negative comments really hit you. I mean, and if it does, you got to just let it roll off your shoulders after a couple minutes, or else it's gonna kill your
And learn
business.
from it. Exactly. Let it roll
Of
off,
course,
learn from it,
definitely.
move forward. Love it, Nick.
Don't make the same
Gloria,
mistake
okay,
twice.
right, exactly. And guess what? We're all going to lose deals that we think we should have, whether it's our best friend, um, a relative. I had a recent one that I would say is a relative that ended up going with someone else. And it happens. It happens to the best of us. And was I disappointed, upset? Yeah, I was. But the reality is, I didn't let that affect me, and I just continued on. And guess what? I probably got 2, 3 more new listings that week, and probably got a couple, if not a few, escrows that week. You just move forward and keep working, and everything else just continues to flow. I could have taken that negative of a relative going with someone else and just been down and bummed out, and it could have affected me, but I didn't let it. But great points, man. Nick, you're so money in terms of everything you're sharing today. Gloria had a question, and I wanted to try to dig in deep. We're already at 30 minutes, Nick.
Yeah.
So
Oh wow.
let's try to end. Gloria's question here is, what lead sources are you working with? I think I know some of them, but try to dig in deep on what sources you're utilizing to do as well as you are doing. Just hopefully this is of value to other agents.
Yeah, definitely. So I'd say my biggest one right now is actually Facebook. And my thing is that I truly feel that you are a better agent if you can provide value to potential customers or clients. And so the way I go about my utilizing Facebook is that I don't advertise myself. I advertise a property. And then, you know, so if that property is in Temecula, I will advertise that property to people in Temecula who have been looking on Zillow or Trulia, or, you know, have shown any interest in, you know, purchasing a home. And now these customers are more inclined to say, hey, I want more information about this house. Not necessarily, hey, I want more information about this stranger who I've never met in my life and is just smiling on my screen. So I really think that if you go about anything, advertising on any site or any source, I think if you provide value to the customer first and then introduce yourself second, again, that's just personal opinion, but I've seen it work wonders for me so far. And
Love it. So
I mean, oh, sorry. I mean, I dipped into realtor.com, Opcity, obviously, and then I've also dipped into Zillow. But a lot of my business right now, especially the ones that I've been double ending, you know, helping people both purchase and sell, are because they have originally shown interest on these properties I have marketed on Facebook and Instagram.
dang. So that's awesome, guys. So what we heard, so Facebook is definitely big. Social media has been very big for you. Focus on the property, focus on what people are going to be interested in, which is usually going to be the property and not yourself, right?
Exactly.
And so that's awesome. I know you mentioned Opcity. I know I see you definitely get a decent number of Opcity leads and some very good ones. You have to work hard and work, and you even already mentioned this. Sometimes, especially with Opcity, you have to deal with some of those manufactured homes or very low price points to be able to get to the point where you get good price points. But if you put in the time and effort, it can be a great source of leads. Did I miss any? Oh, and Zillow. And Zillow can obviously be great as well. And I think really with all those lead sources that you definitely use quite a bit or receive leads on, most importantly is you're just aggressive in following up, you're proactive, and like we were saying at the very beginning, you dig in deep. You really try to understand them, what their needs are, what they want to do in order to best serve them. And they feel that, and therefore they want to work with you because of that.
Exactly. I think too, like you said, it's just, you can't just be like, hey, my name's Nick, let me help you buy a house. You really have to build a connection with people, whether it's sports, the city that they're looking to purchase in, or kids, whatever it is. I think if you can build rapport with potential clients, I think it really sets yourself apart. It shows your genuinity, I think. And it just shows that you care.
If that's
you
a
can't
word.
just be a salesman. You have to be like, you can't just be a salesman. You have to be a human being and understand that you're working with other human beings, and people care about caring. And that's just something I always go by. And then back to work ethic, as far as especially as a new agent, just one example was, again, Op City actually gave me a lead, and the budget was like 40 grand. And I was like, I've got to build credibility for myself and just work with this gentleman. And long story short, that $40,000 lead ended up getting pre-approved for $400K, at the end of the day, because we talked about what his wants are or what his needs are. And we realized that, maybe purchasing land out of cash isn't exactly what he wants. Maybe he wants to, purchase a home instead. And because it will save him the headache in the future. Again, you just got to work with what you have, especially as a new agent. You just got to roll with the punches, take what you can, and just build credibility for yourself. And it doesn't happen overnight. It can happen fast. I mean, seriously, May 1st.
It has been fast, Nick. What the heck?
Well, okay. But seriously, I was working 7 days a week, and between, 5 of those days was easily 8 to 12 hours a day. And then Saturdays and Sundays was probably at least 6 hours, 4 to 6 hours a day on Saturdays and Sundays. So it takes a lot of work. And, it did happen somewhat fast. I mean, May 1st, I literally had one transaction for 200K in escrow. And, today I have close to 3 million in escrow. It just, you have to be willing to put in the work. It will happen eventually. It's just, you have to know that you have to be self-motivated enough to make yourself do the work that's needed.
Totally. Dang, Nick, I know we only have a couple more minutes to wrap up. Let me make sure there's any other questions here. Regine, thanks for being on. You're awesome. Yeah, love you. You're just an amazing agent here in the Valley. Stephen for being on. Gloria, thanks for tuning in. Autumn, looks like
I think we got a question.
Do you feel as a new agent there's such thing as posting too much? Good question. What do you think?
I believe it's important to post valuable, like post items that are of value. You don't necessarily want to post every single day, hi, my name's Nick, I'm a real estate agent, let me help you buy or sell. You want to post, this is a property that I have for sale, or this is and even if you are new, like I was, and you don't have any listings, use someone in your brokerage. I'm sure anyone in your brokerage would be happy to have you advertise for them. I mean, it can't hurt. So that, and again, just provide value, provide market updates, provide, what interest rates are, provide first-time home buyer programs, Cal Alpha, down payment assistance. Don't be I would say don't be super cliche and post every single day or multiple times a week that you're a real estate agent, I can help you buy or sell, blah, 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 because people see that all the time, and you're just another agent. You want to make yourself stand out, and I
And
think the
they'll
way to
tune
stand
out.
out is
They'll
to
tune
post
out
a
to
lot.
that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but like post a lot, but post a lot of value, I think.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Love it. Great answer. And again, yeah, no, oh, is there another question? So make sure each post has some sort of value. Okay, yeah, Autumn, thanks for tuning in and for the questions. And I think that's huge. Guys, we'll get this wrapped up. I know we're a little over time. We tend to go closer to 40 minutes the last few weeks. We didn't even get into a real estate market update, Nick. You were going off, man.
Oops. Yeah, it's been crazy. It's been really busy.
But anyways, guys, I think we got a ton of value out of this. I feel like a lot of the things you shared are just some of the most important things that we really need to consider as real estate agents, or really with anything if we want to be successful. I think you're an amazing example of really learning, implementing, working hard, and that's why you're seeing success so quickly. And like you were saying, I understand your point about like you just have to be consistent and the results will come. I'm seeing you get results quicker than most, and the reason for that is, like you said, you're just working hard day after day, coming into the office and finding ways to be productive, and that is so important. You've got to treat this as a job if you truly want to see the results of being one of the top agents, really making good money in this business, because you can make great business or make great money in this business, but you do have to put in the work. And so anyway, Nick, thank you so much for sharing everything you did today. I'm sure we'll have you on again in the future. And I love even just sharing the fact that you're going from 20,000 to, who knows, let's say you get up to 200,000, like 10x, right? Like crazy.
Yeah, that's the
Who
hope.
would
That's
have
the goal, is
guessed
200.
you could feasibly even get to that in your first full year of real estate is just insane. But I think anyone listening to this podcast, if they truly listen and implement the things you said, they will be able to take their businesses up to another level, regardless of if it's real estate or anything else. Provide value first. You're not looking at the paycheck, at the money. If you're providing value, even if they don't end up buying or selling with you, they're going to refer to you because they know you're there to provide value. They know that you're there for them. I loved everything you shared. So thanks again, Nick. And guys, we'll have to share the real estate market update next week. The market is still on fire. Most properties are getting multiple offers, and market's just nuts. Feel free to reach out to myself, reach out to Nick, follow him on social media. He's going to be one of those top agents that you're going to see just killing the game here in Temecula Valley for a long time to come. So thanks again, Nick, and thanks for tuning in, everyone. We appreciate you. Have a good one.
It's a great day. Thanks, guys.
All right. See ya.